Makers la mette in mezzo, bella tiro, gol! Luka Modric ha segnato Luka, ecco il gol del maestro.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the SempreMilan podcast. I'm your host Ollie Fisher, joined once again by Anthony, the indestructible Torgrud.
I think you're running out of words. I feel like you've used that one before.
No.
And I feel very destructible currently.
Okay.
Yeah. Tired. Bdair, I think you're more tired.
Yeah, dude. It's too early in the morning for this, especially when there's nothing to talk about. But we've
packed itinerary. What are you on about?
All right, we chug along. Let's do it. Give me the packed itinerary.
All right, yeah, okay. We'll do the itinerary breakdown. In this week's episode, we are going to talk about the end of the World Cup and how our players got on in general, kind of like a tournament recap for our...
All right, England lost, yes. I forgot about that. Okay.
There's better coming than that, don't worry. Sunday's getting a breakdown. And then we've got the latest Mercato rumours. We've actually got a game to semi-preview, which is the first pre-season friendly against Celtic away from home. We got the new away kit to talk about, and all the theme with that. And we got a couple of listener questions as well. So there's plenty going on this week, mate. We need you in top form. So come on.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
I didn't know they announced the away kit.
Have you seen it yet?
No, I just see like the little tiny thumbnails down
here.
We
can do a live reaction. Yeah. Before we dive into this week's episode, I will plug the Substack, our bonus content platform. Link in the description. You can try 7 days for free, or you can also sign up and unlock one of the premium articles. Otherwise, it's $5 for the month, $50 for the year. That's in US dollars or euros. Or you can pay a bit more to become a founding member and get your name scrolling across the bottom of the screen there, like all those fantastic people who have signed up before. Over on the Substack, you can find things such as the most recent pub chat, which Lorenzo and Stefano put out on Monday. It was all about the decline of Teao. The fact that, they were meant to be our left flank duo for half a decade into the future. Obviously, Teao was the first to leave the door, and he had a debatable World Cup, let's put it that way. Leao, everything that's gone down with him and his situation now basically only having suitors in Turkey, where it all went wrong for those two and how they went from stardom to stagnation, if you like. The most recent bonus podcast that me and Ben and AJ did, it was me versus Ben in a Mercato challenge with AJ as the judge. We each put forward how we were going to generate a transfer budget from the two players that we've signed already onwards, and then how we were going to spend that money to reinforce the squad and how the squad would then look overall in terms of depth. I won't spoil who we put forward. I won't spoil who won it, but it went all the way down to a tiebreaker in the end, pretty much. So, yeah, that was good. We always enjoy doing that every year. And go and check that out if you want one thing to unlock. I'd maybe recommend that. Bonus article that Isaac did was looking back at our trend last season about how we were the most fined team in the league for lateness. You may remember how we always showed up onto the field like 5 minutes after the opponent after half time, and I think we were even late starting some games. He basically broke down what our results were when we breached the timings, and there was some quite interesting trends that came off the back of it. So yeah, go check that one out. Newsletter in there too, which goes into a bit more detail on a couple of topics from the week, and you get a roundup of all the best news in there as well. Okie dokie then. Do you know what the beauty of finals is? There's a winner, and that winner gets hero status, and more often than not, they're the team that deserves it over the course of a competition or over the course of a campaign. And that is so true about what happened on Sunday.
I was waiting to see where you're going to go with that. I thought you were going to try and say England or something deserved it more.
No. And you know the more beautiful thing about it is that there's a fucking loser as well. And that loser
is all three of us.
Argentina. It was Argentina. Look, I'll get it out the way early. I know they beat us in the semi, but we would have lost to Spain anyway. So what's the best outcome here? Argentinian tears. It's in there. That is just I'm still buzzing about it. I'm genuinely still rattling with excitement about how funny it all was. It was perfect. Enzo Fernandez red card, heartbreaking extra time, crying, fighting. They showed themselves up after the full-time whistle. That is the most dislikable, dishonest, disgusting group of players and coach because, I wanted to kind of give Messi a pass because of his genius. Then he showed himself up to be a grass with that Cucurella thing.
No, that was so funny.
I wanted to give Scaloni a little bit of leash too because I think he seems like a decent guy and he's just leading a group of idiots. No, he after the game said we know how to lose. They can all fuck off. Viva España.
I don't think, and I didn't hear the comments, but I don't think saying we know how to lose is. Oh, unless he's talking. Okay,
they tried to kill the other team after they lost.
Right,
so
that's
I don't think they know how to lose.
I thought the way I took that initially was that we fucking sucked because they did. It was an awful game up until the 80th minute. Let's be real. That was probably one of the worst finals I've seen since the last time Spain won it. Is that their fault? I don't know, but. It wasn't a very good game up until about the 80th minute. Then things started to heat up, get a little fun. And then, of course, Enzo, red card. I thought Messi grassing on Cucurella was so funny.
He was funny.
I think if Enzo hadn't just been sent off, he wouldn't have done that. Because you could almost see we could get one back here. Let's get
desperation.
One. Exactly. Yeah. It was gamesmanship. It failed. It doesn't reflect well on him, but it kind of does in a way, It's like, oh, this is he's the greatest player ever. Right? He's looking for everything, and okay, whatever. Yeah. If Ronaldo did it, I wouldn't be as positive about it, but it is what it is.
Have you seen that angle from behind one of the goals of the Enzo red card, and it's of the actual challenge, right? So he goes through him, he's rolling around on the floor. The referee's giving a yellow and a red card. Messi goes straight over, and he's pointing to an Argentina player that's on the ground. So you presume he's saying, Whoa, call that back. That's foul there. Anyway, the video shows the build-up to it. Once Enzo puts the tackle in, the Argentina player just drops to the floor with nobody around him and starts holding his leg. Honest to God, these lot.
It is impressive gamesmanship.
I'm so close. I'm so close to saying it's impressive, but it's not. It's a disgrace, and they deserve absolutely everything.
It's crazy though, 180 of public perception from 22 to 26 with Argentina. I know that for a lot of the world, this is not a new phenomenon to hate Argentina. I'd say all of South America and the majority of obviously England and a lot of Europe and everywhere else dislikes Argentina for all these reasons. But I don't think, at least in America, people really care. I don't think they know anything. They're just like, or whatever. And then this year, it was just after the Cabo Verde game, I think everyone just turned on them. Before it was like, wow, they keep pulling it off. But then it was like no one wanted them to beat Cabo Verde in the way that it was. It was such a good game. They're like, give it to the underdogs. They'd be incredible. And then the same thing happened with Egypt. And then with Switzerland, it was kind of one-sided, but it's still boring. And I think
even that Switzerland game had a big call as well.
Not
that it was the wrong one.
Yeah.
But it was a big call.
There was a big call on every single one of them. And I don't know how much of it was like, oh, this is rigged, blah, blah, blah. Or was it just like, damn, they get it every fucking time and people are just sick of it,
I think it was rigged. But,
it was a lot of nonsense, to be honest. But whatever. I was just my thing was the refereeing was awful all tournament. I'm not exaggerating when I say this. Every single game, I was sitting there, even tweeting. I was just like, "Are we just are fouls not fouls anymore?
Yeah."
It was refereed in this tournament. Every single game, with no exceptions, was refereed like I've never seen before. You hear in the 70s and 80s, they used to just kick the shit out of each other. You just hear this.
That's what this was.
Players. That's what how it's refereed. Yeah, it was being refereed in a way where the transition fouls it's called stopping promising attack. They have it in the rules and everything. Just non-existent. That's supposed to be an automatic yellow card. Just stop being a yellow card. And when the problem with stuff like that is that it automatically advantages the bigger team because the team with the ball is the one that's conceding transitions, right? Because If you just start fouling and you're not going to give them yellow cards, then why would they never do it? Which, by the way, Spain does all the time, by the way. Spain, the second they lose the ball, foul, done.
Yeah.
Just end the possession. And they never got yellow cards for it this tournament. And so it kind of killed the momentum of a lot of Spain's games. Like, to me, the game was awful because Argentina were not at the level. They did not come to play, but I also don't think they had the quality to come out and play anyway, right? But also Spain were not very good. I don't like when you consider they had at the 85th minute. I was like looking around. I'm like, they've had the ball for 85 fucking minutes. The commentator keeps going like, Emi Martinez's 9th save. It's his record. It's the most saves in a World Cup final. I'm like, he hasn't even fucking made a good save. He's not had to make one single save where I'm like, wow, that's a good save. Not one single one. Every single shot they took, they kept creating good advantages, and then they would take a shot. And I was just like, have they never shot a football before? Can not one player on this entire fucking Spain team whack a football? Just obliterate it. Let's go. And they were bad.
I thought Spain were dominant without being kind of ruthless. And if they had been ruthless, and this is where, for me, right, controversially, they are kind of lacking an elite forward. And I'm still kind of classing Lamine Yamal as being a part of that, because I don't think he had a brilliant tournament. He got double teamed a lot, which I think he was
injured as well. I think that's
and I think generally speaking, he's in the very upper bracket of players. But I just think in this tournament, Spain could have really put some teams to bed if they'd had a proper finisher up front, and they've kind of lacked that for a long time, because going back prior to them kind of experimenting with this Oyarzabal leading the line and Merino going up front as an auxiliary solution late in games, they had Morata, who is not a clinical forward either, but it's almost as if the De La Fuente, I think deserves an awful lot of credit for what he's built over the years there with Spain. He said, I don't need it, I think that we can eventually break teams down with our possession. And yes, I think if Spain had scored early, it maybe conditions the game in a different way, because then Argentina have to come out of their shell a little bit more. And what's funny is that when they went behind and they had a man disadvantage, Argentina were really putting it on them for that last 5 minutes. They had that cross that Kubasi cut out. And
I thought it was coming for sure.
Just sort of wonder where has this been? They were waiting to go behind. Like
the Kubasi clearance is genuinely one of the greatest plays I've ever seen. Because when you see there's that aerial view from the far post, and you're like 99 times out of 100, that's an own goal. That, because it's so difficult. Actually, in the Cape Verde game against Argentina, Pico Lopez had a play just like that, where I'm literally sitting there, he clears it, and I'm just like, that's impossible. It's impossible that didn't just go in the goal. It's an unbelievable play.
Yeah, it is. And look, I think on the balance of play, nobody can really argue with the outcome, because only one team showed up to try and play. And I think it shows that, because obviously with what happened on Wednesday night, I have no gripes about the fact that we lost. It was deserved because of the way that we retreated. And I just, you look at that Argentina performance and think, what would have happened if we'd have just stuck to our guns, maybe gone for a second? But it's by the by. There wasn't really any controversial penalty or something that I can point at and say. So, I've made my peace with that game. It was disappointing, but it is what it is. But then it's like, okay, so we were beaten by Argentina, and then there was that gulf with Spain. It makes you think, because Spain completely outplayed France as well.
So that was the most impressive game to me, I think. Maybe not in terms of actual football, but just in terms of result. I mean, before the whole tournament started, we were on the podcast, and Ahmed, I don't know if you were on this one, because I don't remember who you picked, but I know all you and I both picked Spain to win the whole thing. But
I think
as the tournament went on,
I would have changed to France, I think.
Yeah, I did. I mean, especially when Spain's first game was Cabo Verde, right? And nobody knew what Cabo Verde was going to do. Ironic, the final was played between two teams who couldn't beat Cabo Verde inside 90 minutes. So crazy how that happened.
It's a crazy achievement, I'm not going to lie.
No, it really is. It really is. It's insane. But watching Spain this tournament, I think I missed maybe 6 games the whole tournament. One of them, the third place game. And one of them was Spain's 4-0 win over, I think it was Saudi Arabia or someone. So their only good performance was the one I missed. So my sample size of their tournament was bad game, bad game, bad game. Now they won, and maybe bad game's harsh, but just like not exciting for a neutral sort of deal, you know, just like low scoring, whatever. Because the tournament was filled with high scoring games too. That's the other caveat is not that Spain was playing bad. It was just when you're watching 5 games a day or whatever it is, and every game is 4-0, 3-1, 2-2, like good games, then you get to one and say, okay, this is a 1-0. It's fine. It could be a fantastic game, but your brain gets conditioned going, I saw so many goals today. This was the worst one of the bunch, you know? So maybe in hindsight I'm wrong, but
it's like you're watching a fencing match when over the fence there is a game of basketball going on or something. It's like, exactly. Well, I can kind of appreciate the artistry of what's going on here. And Spain controlled a lot of games, but I want to see a bit more chaos than this. We got that Saturday night, by the way. Game of the tournament was France and England decided, let's not defend. Let's not defend. Let's give these fans their money's worth.
It was a friendly. It was a friendly.
Yeah, it was.
Why did Harry Kane not play it?
Rest him. But what I don't understand is there'd been complaints about Rice's fitness, and in that Argentina game, he declined so much, and yet he started him again. And then Saka, who had been benched for Rodgers in that semi-final, and I think it was kind of proven to be right because Rodgers provides that one moment for the goal to put us 1-0 up that Gordon finished. But then Saka basically plays the full game against France.
But for Saka never to have come on it. But for Saka never to have come on against Argentina was absurd. Like it was absolutely absurd.
He would have been a good outlet for us as well, especially
he's the best. He's probably the best possession player in the entire squad at that point. And you're not even gonna try to take a chance of maybe we can push up the field.
I would have even sacrificed Kane for him, but that's a whole other thing.
The England performance was the most like we believe in England. Like we did,
I saw the video.
They were so in their head. Like that was the only explanation. That was I agree. I've seen a lot of commentary after the game about like, I do think that the thing about Tuchel's subs. Like, that Tuchel's subs are why they dropped back. I think that's not true, right? Like that was, it's a I don't know how to say it. Like it's a hindsight like commentary. They dropped back the second they could see the goal, right?
Yeah, 17 minutes until we made a sub.
Right.
So they've done it already.
In that 17 minutes, they are. But the criticism of Tuchel is that, okay, if their natural mentality, the English players, is to do that, right? It's your job as a manager to counteract that, to try to force them away from that. And instead, he just saw them drop back, and he was like, "Fuck it, okay, let's reinforce this dropping back." Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's where his mistake comes, because like once you put on all the center, because the problem is, it's not like what I hate as well about the Tuchel defenders. Like have you seen the Andrew Townsend video?
Yeah.
My problem with what a lot of his analysis was correct, but then the problem where it falls apart to me was like, well, they scored on a set piece. It's just a set piece. I'm like, yeah, but they could have scored like 8 times before that. They should have scored a bunch of other chances before that. So it's like, if any of those goals happen, and then you have 3 center backs, 2 left backs, and a right back on the field, you were done. The second that Argentina score, the game was over.
But there's still an opportunity then, I think. Yeah. So obviously this has been one of the criticisms that was levelled at Southgate previously in terms of getting us right to the line but never over it. And there was the Italy game where I still maintain that we were the better team on paper than them, and we got a goal 100%. Up, and we should be able to hang on to that. And he didn't really commit to doing either thing, to be honest, in terms of his changes. Then there was the Spain final in Berlin at the last Euros. And he made attacking changes, did Southgate, to try and get us back on level terms. Did that and then failed to adjust back by adding another midfielder. And then we got overrun in transition, which led to Spain's winner. And with Tuchel, it was like he'd made the changes for us to go defensive. But once they equalise, it needs to be treated as a new game. And then you rebalance the team. Instead, it was like we all knew what was coming. It's like we're fighting for extra time here, and it wasn't going to come. I think you still got all those defenders on the field, and you let a 5'4" Lautaro head it in from close range. I think
we didn't even play in the final, which is insane to me.
That was
also funny.
Yeah, I mean, granted, obviously they had a red card, but the red card was so late in the game. He should have been on by then.
Yeah.
But there was an injury
Possibly.
early. What I thought was weird about the final, there was the injury early, so they used a sub. Then they used a sub at halftime, and then they made 2 subs in the 48th minute. So it was like, why didn't you just do them
And
on
they
halftime?
subbed.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird. And they subbed off Christian Romero as well, who we still don't
Mhm.
know if that was an injury or not.
But I
By
thought it
the
was.
He cramped up. I think
might
at
have.
one
It might have
point.
been. Yeah, but by the end
Yeah.
of the game, they were basically out their 2 starting center backs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that
He was also on a
huge
card, I
factor.
think, right?
He'd been yellowed. Both the centre backs, I think, had been
Yeah.
yellowed by that point.
And Romero's
or
like
both the
to get a
starting
second, typically, out of the bunch.
Yeah.
I mean, he's.
Um,
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, like, the one bit of sort of credit that I'll give is that they almost summoned that spirit again out of nowhere. You know, like in the face of all adversity, and it was like, well, it felt like Spain score. You know, towards the end of the 90s, Spain score in extra time. It's done because the man down. It's just not. It's not coming right. They won't be able to do it this time, and they so nearly did it. And I think Romero during this tournament has been a big part of that. He scored some big goals, and I think that when they need to build pressure and they're cycling the ball around the halfway line, the 2 centre backs are crucial to that, because if you've got, as we've seen, if you've got like Konza and Gehi, for example, trying to do that same thing and build pressure by pushing so far up, you just can't do it. Like they are actually elite footballers, as it turns out. And if Romero goes to Inter, my God, what a perfect hate match that is, right? But he would be a good fit, annoyingly.
He's one of those players where he's a perfect fit for a lot of teams. He just doesn't play. He doesn't play football. So it's like, are you going to spend 50 million on a player who's going to give you like 18 league games? That's the problem with him. But if he plays, he's one of the best center backs in the world.
Yeah,
as much as that.
He checked out, didn't he, of that Spurs season towards the end, despite kind of appointing
that was
a
a disgrace. That was an absolute disgrace. That's the other thing where it's like, man, like, do you want to invest big on a guy who basically tells you when the going goes tough, I could be bothered. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. He's fitting for that national team who, once again, I'll just reiterate, can fuck off all the way into the sea for me.
I don't think they're going to be good in the future, though, without Messi. Because it really seems like they only fight for him, which is kind of honorable. But
I know, but when you see, I saw like, gone, here's what they could look like in 2030. And like, yes, they're not going to win the World Cup, but they're not bad. Like, when you think about, they can add Nico Paz, they can add Barco, they can add, like, and obviously there'll be like a bunch. In 4 years, there'll be a bunch of players we've never even heard of that will be.
I mean, they could have added those guys now, right? Like that's a weird thing.
I thought it was absolutely insane, because I said this like during the Switzerland game when they equalized. I was like, is like the entire tournament gonna go and you're never even gonna give like Paz an opportunity? I'm not even saying he's like the solution, but like. There's no way you look at the squad and the lack of athleticism, because like that dude's tall, he's athletic, he makes tackles even before the quality on the ball, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way you're gonna go this entire thing having not even like given him a look. Maybe.
No, I mean, I genuinely had to check and see if he even got called up, because I'm like, where the fuck is this guy? Like, we all talk about Nico Paz as he's the next big deal.
Scaloni does tend to lean heavily on experience, though, especially when he's forced into changes. Like Otamendi came on at one point. I was like, is this guy going to be a World Cup winning centre back? And I think he actually performed quite well through the tournament.
Yeah.
But he is sort of like,
I think he did the last one.
No, I mean, like, to win this World Cup at the age of like 38 or whatever he is.
Yeah, it was crazy. He basically, I mean, he effectively ran it back, like the entire thing from last time, but they were all 4 years older. Because like, you think some of the guys that we were left unimpressed with this time were pretty impressive 4 years ago. Like Enzo was decent in this tournament, but like he was amazing in the previous one. McAllister kind of same thing. Paredes was a different level player, etc. Like Julian Alvarez, he's probably the biggest disappointment in the tournament, to be honest. Like, I
genuinely, and I look, I hate him, and I hate Inter so much. I just don't understand why Lautaro wasn't starting over him the whole tournament.
He did start. Lautaro started the first 2 or 3 group games, I think, but he didn't impress either. That's the problem.
Well, he scored a bunch of goals, didn't he? I thought he had like 4 goals.
Dude, no. Once the first 2 games, only Messi scored. They scored 5 goals.
But just throughout the tournament, Lautaro, I mean,
he was
the guy scoring the late winners.
He scored the one against England and
Egypt, I thought.
He scored another.
Or was it Switzerland?
I don't. Yeah, it was Switzerland. It was
Yeah.
Switzerland right at
He
the
scored
end to make a 3-1.
the 3-1. Yeah.
Oh, that's what I was doing. Okay, I was thinking.
See, that's the thing. I found like the parallels for me to this, because if you look at the like World Cup finals and all stuff, this is literally it was the 1990 final. 1986, Maradona does the hand of God, and then he beats Belgium, and then he goes to the final and they beat West Germany, right? Like it was one of the greatest, maybe the greatest individual like run of any player was Maradona in 1986, right? It's the iconic one we all think about. But people don't then think about the fact that they went to the final again in 1990, right? They played West Germany again, and on that path, they won. They beat Brazil 1-0 in the round of 16. Then they beat Yugoslavia on penalties. Then they beat Italy on penalties. Then they went to the final and produced. They were just so far below the level. West Germany had 23 shots to Argentina's 1.
Oh, sounds just like this.
And it finished 1-0 with an 85th minute penalty. It was the exact parallel. It was like, here's a team led by an all-time great who's like a little bit, he's not washed, but he's below the level.
You could see the decline.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we're running it back. It's the same team. We're doing it again. And then they get to the final. It's like, it's just not the same team, is it? And
there are a lot of problems.
I just, one thing I hate that I see, and I know it's not as simple as this, but it's the World Cup. It's knockout football. You have to win. Why are we making defensive subs? You're down, you're losing.
Yeah.
I don't even care if you're down a man. Put on another attacker. You have to win the game. If you hold out, guess what? You're still not going to win. Like 1-0 or 6-0 does not make a difference how you lose in the World Cup. So when you need to win, when you need a goal, put on more attackers. Like, I get what I was saying about Otamendi. Yeah, both the center backs were on yellow cards. There's questions about Romero being hurt. Enzo Fernandez just got a red card. But you need to win. So you need to risk that you might get another red. But what's worse? What happens if you get a second red card in the game with 5 minutes to go? You already lost. Who cares?
Yeah.
You need to go. And I guess at that point they weren't down a goal, but still, like, you could have stole it. The whole tournament, Argentina's played up after the 80th minute. They knew that was going to happen again. I just think they should have went for it. Yeah. And no guarantee they would have won, of course. But I think they would have had a better chance because at this point, Spain had dominated the entire game. Argentina is the first team in World Cup final history to not record a single shot, not shot on goal, shot inside 90 minutes in the final.
It was unbelievable.
And Spain was at like 18 or something crazy. So my brain says Spain's not expecting you to attack. They're comfortable with whatever's happening. They're relaxed a little bit. Now's your chance. Throw on Lautaro, make the push. Maybe you get a goal. Maybe you steal it at the end there. Maybe you get a late or early goal in extra time, and then you got to defend a little bit. But you've been doing that for an hour or 2 hours anyways. Who cares?
And we saw once they were forced, like once they went 1-0 down and they were basically forced to attack, we saw that they could. And that was the only period of play where Messi actually got touches. Because that was the thing against England before they scored the goal. They just basically they held him down. Like he just wasn't getting the ball in any of his favorite spots, right? Yeah. And then once they scored, all of a sudden Messi's like every second touch is Messi's.
He was playing right back, like because we collapsed so deep in a 5-4. He was just picking up that space on the right hand side, and eventually with his little give and goes, he's going to get space to cross, and he puts in probably the best cross on the planet still. So,
well, that was the big problem. Was like Tuchel's brilliant idea was like, we're just gonna give the greatest to ever play the sport. We're just gonna give him as much time and space as he wants. Let's see if he can figure it out. It's like, he's only been doing it for 20 years.
That Mexico game absolutely conditioned us because he thought a man down. All right, yes, it was Mexico, but we proved we could withstand an aerial barrage. And to be fair, Argentina did kind of resort to doing the same sort of thing. And I think we thought we can do it again. We've got an extra man this time. But in actual fact, it turns out that, first of all, quality service coming in was so much better. And I think it confused the assignments in the box as well. all of a sudden, because it was shuffling so much. You end with Nico O'Reilly playing as a left midfielder and Spence as a left back. And then, the centre backs just constantly kind of, and he ends up between the two men for the winning goal.
In Tuchel's defense, both goals came after the 85th minute. It's not like you weren't successful with your game plan for the 40 minutes that you were doing, or 30 minutes you were doing it until you weren't.
But McAllister had hit the post, and Pickford had
made
to
a
make
good
a great save. And there
was
one where
defense is defense. If the goal doesn't go in, like I get, yes, you could tell it was coming. We all saw it was coming.
But that's my point. If you, it's not like they were holding. So against Mexico when they did it, right? Mexico, they locked down. They brought in Dan Burn, and Mexico never had did not actually generate one single good chance from that point, right? Now, it was cross, but none of them ever actually. But once you see that Argentina, this was the difference. I saw somebody say this, and it was really funny. It was like they basically treated like Mexico. Remember that? I think it was Marcelo Gallardo or something. The Mexico left back. He ended up putting in like 50 crosses when England retreated, right? And somebody was like, they treated Messi like he was Marcelo Gallardo, basically.
Yeah.
That was the difference. Like, you were doing the same thing, except the guy with the ball is fucking Lionel Messi.
Yeah.
Like, you can have 20 people in the box. It only if a cross is great, it can still land on the right guy's head. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can have 50 guys, it doesn't matter. So they were
everything about
yeah.
They were getting joy from the crosses previously, as you say. Header hits the post. Pickford makes a really good save, because the thing that you realise when you play in a team like Mexico is when they're going direct like that, they're playing for volume. They're playing for the chance that a ball falls in the right place. But when you watch when Argentina cross the ball, it is very targeted. They know exactly. 100%. We've seen it with Milan last season, right? Just lumping it in, and you're wondering where the hell is that going?
Yeah, you're hoping for the best.
Every single cross is generally met by smart movement from Argentina, to the extent that, you even have like a small number 8 in McAllister having a golden chance to, and that speaks to the quality of the service.
Exactly. The cross is coming from Messi, who is not just putting it up and hoping someone gets to it. He's putting it up for McAllister. He's putting it up for Enzo Fernandez. He's putting it up for Lautaro Martinez. Like, he knows who he's going for. And that's why
always
he
with like a whip and dip to it. That means that even if your defender is right there, it's not the easiest to deal with. Whereas these floaty ones that were coming in, Big Dan Burns heading it to the halfway line, meat and drink for a player like him. Anyway,
whereas Milan will put up a cross when no one's in the box at all. We'll just do it. Yeah, we just hope.
Well, our manager would just play no strikers, so nobody's in the box anyway.
Well, that's kind of what Argentina did to lose the final. So.
Yeah, which was great, and I'm happy to keep repeating it.
Last bit on World Cup for me, I thought the individual player awards were just completely asinine.
Awful.
How Rodri gets man of the tournament. I didn't hear anyone mention him the whole goddamn tournament. And then because his side wins,
he was incredible against France. I think that was like.
I'm not saying he's a bad player.
No, I agree with you, but he's not. To me, the difference. So they gave it to him at the Euros when he also was. He was just very clearly not the player of the tournament at the Euros at 2024. He was not even close to Spain's best player. They gave it to him because he was the brand name. Okay, this time at the very least, he was definitively Spain's best player. Right. So I can at least. I don't agree with it. Like, to me, Messi was the best player. To me, that almost feels factual. Like, he just was the best player.
Yeah, it 12 goals and assists at 39.
And the most important player to his team.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that was, by far, those two things are true. But at least this time when they give it to Rodri, even though I disagree with it, at least this time he was actually the best player on his team.
I think the only reason they give it to Rodri is because Yamal didn't have a good tournament. And they really wanted him to do it. Rabasi getting the young player was complete justice. That was good. He was very happy with that.
He was incredible.
I am not prepared to live in a world where a 19-year-old wins the Ballon d'Or, especially one who I don't feel deserves it. And Lamine Yamal, not that he's a bad player, he's fantastic. He just did not impress me in this tournament one bit at all. I think that was.
I think the thing with Lamine is like everybody. We all came into this tournament with the expectations that he was going to be at the Messi, Jude Bellingham, like Mbappe. Like, he was supposed to be playing at that level. And he didn't, obviously. I still think individually, game by game, he had good games. He didn't have great games. He had good games. The thing with him is, first of all, there's the injury. But also, when we talked about they just weren't calling fouls, you know how easy it is to deal with a winger when all you have to do is just like, push, shove,
yeah,
trip.
he's 19.
He-
He's got
He also got double,
kid
he
strength.
got double teamed
He
in
got
every single game.
But like you saw the
whereas-
Tagliafico thing, right? Like where he
Yeah.
based it, he stepped on his calf. By the way, that's the
Red
Messi
card.
foul that everybody, the Messi foul against the Algeria
Yeah,
that everybody kept pointing at the whole tournament. That should happen again. And
no, dude, it happened so many. By the time that they actually carded someone for it in Balogun, the whole controversy, that was the 8th time that exact challenge had happened in the tournament. It was the first one to get carded. And I thought it was a red. I thought they all should have been reds. But
that's the thing. If there's the consistency in the saying, no, that's a red card because you stood.
If you're not going to call it for the first 7, you
can't
can't call it for the 8th, and then you can't not call it for the first 7, call it for the 8th, and then not call it for the next 4.
This is
doesn't make any sense.
There was clearly, like, you know how before the tournament they have all these points of emphasis, like here's what you guys should try to do for the referees, right?
Yeah.
It was incredibly obvious. I don't even know what they said to them, but it was incredibly obvious that they were incentivized to do one of these. Like they see the call and then they just turn around and go. Like they don't. They genuinely just. There was a certain, and I at a certain point, like 30 minutes into the game, you were also like you were also thinking like, okay, the players have to adjust now because like. We've set the standard that you're not going to get that, right?
Yeah.
You're not, if you're holding up the ball and you're trying to like put your back into it and like do all this stuff, you're an idiot. Because you know, every single time the defender would just push you over and you weren't getting the call. But at a certain point, you have to adjust and be like, as soon as I receive the ball, it has to be fast and I have to go and I have to make the run. And it's just, to me, they did the same with Lamine. There's like this guy.
I agree with that, but you still have to be able to play physically. When you're being crowned as the next best ever, sorry, a double team? Come on.
No, I agree, but this is the thing. I think that physically he wasn't at that level where he could just burst out because of the injury, right? But also, the World Cup is like, if you look at it historically, the World Cup is like a central players tournament. Like who wins the most? Who wins the player of the tournament? Who does the best? It's the guys playing in the middle because it's so much easier to foul you out wide and not get the call than it is in the middle. Do you get what I'm saying? Like when they foul you in transition right down the middle, it feels bigger. You get the call. You get a yellow card.
Yeah, I mean.
Whereas
he got a couple of he won a couple of free kicks, did Yamal in the final where he finally drove inside onto his left foot, and then he got chopped. I think a couple of times, once in the normal time, once in extra time, and it's like, yeah, you're going to get that. You know, if you keep doing that and going into those dangerous areas, then you're going to get more and more of those. But
there was that free kick at the end where it was like, man, right? There was that Ferran Torres wins it. It's like right on the. It was on the, like to the left middle, which is exactly for him for a left footer, and you're just like, man, right
he hit
now
it well as well.
Yeah, but he hit it.
But Martinez is on that side.
He didn't try. Yeah, he didn't try to go over the wall, which I was really disappointed with. I was just like, man, if you score this right, because this was the part that was disappointing, is that Spain win, but he didn't. It wasn't like a passing of the torch moment.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah,
but
I
it should,
agree.
but it should have been. But it should have been. Like if he scores that free kick right then there.
God, yeah.
Even if we say
what a free kick, that was great.
Right. Even if all the stuff about the tournament, whatever, that would have been one of the greatest.
And then you know what? He would have got all the awards. He'd win the golden ball.
100%. Yep. He would have won the ball
because that would have been a moment in history, you know. But instead we got, and it was like, he won one. Like, it feels like there's an asterisk next to his World Cup title, you know, because he won one of that.
Well, in general, I think you watch Spain. Spain did not inspire.
Exactly.
I think that, like the whole
and
tournament,
I think him specifically didn't inspire, and he was the whole tournament that was being hyped up as the guy who's going to lead them.
Yeah.
When you get one goal the entire tournament, it's against Saudi Arabia. You have 0 assists. It's not that he had a bad tournament. I just went and checked what his ratings were for each game. He never had a bad game. You know, his worst one was a 6.8. Like, it's not like he was a bad player in it. He just wasn't to the level that the world tried to tell you he was at. And I think that's the part that gives you the little asterisk, the sour taste. Because I think without him in this game or in this tournament, it's probably the same outcome.
No, you saw them against Cape Verde because even if I
didn't do anything.
No, but even
he occupies two men at all times.
It's the attention he brings, like
the space for Marino, the space for Yazabal.
For example, like you saw how much of a difference it made for Spain when Nico Williams came on the field, right?
Yeah.
Nico Williams he's a great player, but he's also so like allegedly he's really compromised by injury. That's why we've barely seen him all tournament, right? But like when he came on for that 20-30 minutes, he was brilliant. And just the fear that having somebody like that has opened up the whole game for them on that side. Like Lamine is the one that puts the ball in on the far post that Nico Williams heads it in, right? So it's like there's a level of attention even against Cape Verde. There's a level of attention when he came on that just directs shades everybody to one side. You can't if it was Alex Baena and fucking, I mean, this is what they did in the first game. It was Gavi on the right side.
Yeah.
If it's that for the entire tournament, I promise you they would have been knocked out in like the round of 32 or round of 16, whatever.
Nah,
they could have easily lost. They could have easily lost to Portugal or France. I just don't think they.
Belgium were the one who, for me, really stood toe to toe with them, and that's why. And look,
CDK is the only player to score against Spain the whole tournament.
They were ridiculous defensively.
So you would say we get it back, you know?
You only need you only need one moment when you're playing that well defensively, right? Because they kept clean sheets in all but the one game. But you know, you'll never know, right? That's the point. And it sounds a bit Santi Jimenez Make-A-Wish thing because we were saying, look at what his runs are doing when the goals weren't actually coming. But with Yamal, I believe that is genuinely true. I think everyone's scared of his reputation.
He is the next big thing. This tournament didn't do it for me.
We agree. I think on a week-to-week basis this season... The comments won't. He was... On a week-to-week basis this season, he was exactly at the level he's hyped at. Like, he is... In my opinion, he's at worst the second best player in the world, right? But yeah, he didn't play to that level this tournament. But also, again, he's 19. Like he's got like 4 more of these. So it's like
he's got more. Plenty of time. Yeah, plenty of time. Well, speaking of tournaments overall, here's how some of our boys got on.
Speaking of plenty of time, we don't have much left, so
no, we don't. Maignan, look, he starts every game. He plays 90 minutes of every single game for France, as was to be expected. He's their undisputed starter since Lloris retired. He let in 10 goals overall, but that is, of course, skewed by the fact that he let in 6 against England in that third place playoff. So if you want to get rid of that, then he only conceded 4 through the rest, which, you know, isn't too bad. I think France will probably deem their tournament to be a disappointing one because they had hopes of winning it. But I don't think that's necessarily down to Maignan, who, of course, saved a penalty too in the Norway game from Strand Larsen. Rabiot started every game too under Didier Deschamps, which, you know, it's not a mean feat when they've got the wealth of options that they've got in midfield. And he got 1 assist, which I believe came in the first game against Senegal. So, yeah, he did well. I thought, you know, he kept it ticking. He only got 45 minutes in one of the games because he got a yellow card, and he looked a bit leggy in that. It was the Spain game, yeah. And he looked a bit leggy in that. It looked, for the first time, a little bit like he couldn't keep up with the pace, but Spain were popping it around. They were brilliant in that game. Tournament to forget for De Winter, who didn't play a single minute under, God, who is it? Bloody Rudy Garcia. Yeah, the Belgian manager. Don't fancy him. Selmakers went into the tournament kind of competing for a starting spot, and he did actually start one of the games. He got a goal in their rout of New Zealand that kind of was their breakout game. They'd drawn the first 2-0, and then they won that one, scoring 5. But yeah, didn't play much in the knockout stages after that, so not brilliant for him either. Leao, wild really, because on the one hand, he certainly left his mark with the goal that he scored it was a lovely goal, finishing to the top corner against Uzbekistan, albeit it was the 5th goal in a 5-0 win. And that assist for Gonçalo Ramos to knock Croatia out had everybody talking about a potential link-up between those two. And yet he still only started the one game and was reduced mostly to cameos off the bench. And he looked bright in some of those, and in others, not so much. So if he was hoping for it to be a showcase and he'd get that big La Liga or Premier League move, I don't think it really was that. But it was a shame, and he probably deserved some more minutes. But Martinez clearly has his favourites when it comes to the forwards. And you can then make your argument too about what he, you know, like when a tournament's on the line, like it was in that Spain game, he can't risk somebody that's not going to run back.
I think he said after the Croatia game and after the Spain game, he basically said that. So after the Croatia game, Leao, which he had played the full game, the whole 90 and all that, Leao basically said that he was fatigued, his legs still hurt him, etc., etc. Then after the Spain game, Martinez basically, because he was asked like why would he not start given that he played so well against Croatia, and he basically said he wasn't able to play the whole game, like that we didn't think he was going to play the 90, so we thought we'd bring him on later.
Yeah.
I think that injury is exactly why Leao has no offers either. We knew it when it was announced that Bdair is a long-term thing that just fucks with you. And that's why he had such a bad season last year for his standard. And I think a lot of that is also why he's not getting any offers from clubs that he would accept. I think it's damaged goods at this point, attitude-wise and injury. I just think people are not interested.
There's a lot of there's a lot of circumstances in terms of like what the teams that could sign him are doing, and then it's like that's what I'm saying. Like there's a lot of those teams already have their left winger, et cetera, and then it's like he's the injury. There's parts where you watch him and you're like, God damn, he's fast again. Like he's actually like really fast, and then 30 minutes into the game, you're like, it's not the same, is it? It's not
he gave it all in that little bit, and then he was gassed, and it sucks, dude. Because, and honestly, the Ramos thing pisses me off more than anything because that goal got them through, and for him to not even play a minute of the next game when they were needing a goal, but they refused to stick Ronaldo off, who was completely ineffective the majority of the tournament.
The thing about that is that like unfortunately it's perfectly explicable. It doesn't make it right, but it's almost like, well, we knew that because Martinez just can't let go of Ronaldo's hand, and Ramos scores the fantastic header, and hopefully it's a sign of things to come with us to get them through the next round late on against Croatia. But the problem with that Spain game was that there was so much jeopardy in there that Martinez didn't want to sacrifice the structure, so he had to keep playing with one up front, and he wasn't going to take off Ronaldo in that game. So to me, it was entirely obvious that that Ramos was going to keep bench warming, and they got stung at the end perhaps for not being brave enough. And it is frustrating. I totally agree, and I'd have loved to have seen him play a little bit more. But look, he's gone, hasn't he? I think Martinez. So fingers. I think it's going to be so. Hopefully, Jesus. The next coach is. But then Jorge Jesus is a big Ronaldo loyalist, isn't he? So
Ronaldo's done. He's not going to keep. I mean, he might.
Brother, come on, man. He's playing the Euros. There's no chance in hell.
You think he's going to play the Euros?
I do as well.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
I mean, I don't understand what he thinks he's getting out of this. To me, I don't even mind that he's still around. He's still in the squad. Like, if he came in this World Cup right here, if he came into it with some humility, just being like, okay, if I take a back seat in this situation, if I play the super sub, right? If I'm the guy who comes in with 10 minutes to go, he's still Cristiano Ronaldo. Like, he could poach a goal, he could get a header, he could do some stuff, right? With some energy, whatever. If he humbled himself, like being like, I'm gonna be the guy who helps everybody out, who like mentors, like gives advice, and then I come on at the end and maybe I nick a goal here or there. If he was that, they could have actually done well. Because again, as much as they were not better than Spain in that game, it was a 1-0 game. Like all it would have anything could swing again.
It's a moment.
Yeah, anything could swing.
And who's the best generator of moments, right? But just not in this case. But and I think as well. He's so obsessed with the idea of going out on a high, is Ronaldo, and understandably so, because it's got him to like where he is in his career. He's constantly striving for the best. But what it means is he's gone so far over the hill now that it's going to be quite a painful end to it all, unless something strange happens at the Euros, and I wouldn't have Portugal among the favourites for that. So it could be quite a sad conclusion finale to it all for him. Modric played well. Croatia didn't have It's tough because that game against Portugal is always a bit of a coin flip, I would say, and they went out in heartbreaking fashion, and they had the chances, to be honest, Croatia to have won that game.
Yeah,
But Modric was sort of what you'd expect. He starts every game. He's very important in the centre of the park. Gave away a penalty in that first game against England, but it was unlucky. It wasn't particularly anything egregious like a 2-footer or whatever. He got an assist for the winning goal against Ghana. Which meant that they got through from that final group game. And he got hoisted into the sky because he made his 200th appearance, which was a lovely scene. Sounds like that's it. He's going to communicate to Slaven Bilic, who is the new Croatia boss, that his time with the national team is done. And incredible, 5 World Cups and all the Euros in between for a nation that, rightly or wrongly, has not been regarded as a footballing powerhouse up until sort of 2010 onwards. They've been on some incredible runs to semis, to finals, to quarterfinals, and Modric has been a huge part of that. So,
you could say up until him, he is like the line of demarcation. In 2008, he comes in, he's like when he's a baby, basically, and they make that crazy run in the Euros, and it's basically just been nonstop success since then. He's even against that Portugal game, I was just like, please come back.
Because I wanted it so bad.
My God,
he was the best midfielder on the pitch, a pitch that included the Portuguese guys.
Vitinha, João Neves, Bruno. Nobody could fucking touch him, man. I was just like, I was literally watching that with like pride. Like, man, that guy fucking played for my team. That's crazy. He will
continue to play.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm so happy that he's coming back because it's like.
Well, and they did have they had a goal called off after the Ramos score. Right?
Yeah.
They did. Oh, no, there was all the confusion. Is he actually offside? Because it was Vega, wasn't it, who backward headed it?
It was that. Yeah, it was a weird one.
A little radar thing as well.
AJ, over to you. Pulisic, how do you rate his tournament from an American standpoint?
No, I thought he came into it, looked really hot the first game, and the friendlies prior to the start of the tournament. And actually, it was very frustrating from a Milan fan point of view because we hadn't seen that in a while. So I thought, okay, he shows up for the World Cup. It's going to be good. Gets the assist in either the first or second game. In the first game, I believe.
Paraguay, yeah.
And then he's off at halftime, and everyone's thinking, what the hell? He's got that injury again and misses the second game. So, not too great there. Comes on late in the third game. Nothing really happens, but it's whatever. He's just getting back in there. Cool. Knockout game 32. I believe he was fine all of 32. I don't really remember him doing a whole lot. I think it was mostly invisible. So not a great game. But again, it was like, okay, he's just back from injury, whatever. And then Belgium, we think this is the one. You got to show up. You got to do your thing. And while he didn't, he wasn't terrible. But to the standards that he's held to for the U.S. team, he's got to be doing better. And I think just all the bullshit around the Balogun red card being overturned, all that, it was just a perfect storm of everything bad, and then he gets injured again. The hairline fractures. People are calling him soft, made of paper, blah blah blah. It's probably all true. Let's be real. We've seen his career, but when you are chasing the game, you need a goal. You're just outside the box. You're a guy who scores that pretty often. You're taking that shot and you're taking it with all the power that you can generate, and then you go right through someone's ankle, their heel, like a really hard, solid part. That shit's gonna hurt. Okay, it's going to hurt. So I'm not shocked to hear he's actually injured and had to come off. My gripe is that he tried to fight on, like just stay down, because while he was trying to fight on and limping and walking, that's when the third goal went in, when they made the stupid mistake with the goalkeeper kicking the ground, and it's like we can't get anything right. And then he comes off, and it's like, well, at this point, what are we doing? So I have a lot of complaints with the way this one went down. I also kind of go back and forth on a lot of like, well, but stuff like that. It's just it's
now we've potentially got him missing for the first couple of games, which is kind of rough.
I'm not. I think that was a really fair assessment of everything. I'm not the U.S. media, which only pays attention to this stuff once every 4 years, has been really like harsh on him, obviously, and to some extent he deserves it because like like for example, like in terms of endorsements, he's probably like top of the line in the entire planet. You know what I'm saying? Like he's probably
he's everywhere.
He's probably competing with like Vinicius and these guys, these levels,
And
that level
Messi.
player.
He's
Yeah,
in the commercials with Messi and just about all of them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So like he commercially in America, that's what they're thinking. Like you associate him with the national team, obviously, and he didn't deliver. To me, I was just watching him like for all the listen. I'm not even gonna do any layout defense, but like for all the people that criticize him, I'm just like, this is what it looks like when Christian Pulisic is your best player, or you're the attacker that you really rely on. Okay, so for all the Milan fans, I think it's gonna be like beautiful from when Leao leaves. This is the expectation now. Like this is what it looks like when he's your best player. That's all I'm gonna say.
I think it's the exact same as when Leao's our best player the last few seasons.
But at least
Leao
got the criticism for everything. Every time.
Oh, you're just saying, he doesn't get. He gets coddled.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Yeah. He really does. Maybe it's because we just have a lot of US fans on social media, obviously, but I don't know. I think that was a bit lackluster.
It
Yeah,
wasn't the
I don't
moment.
know.
When you think about, we've been waiting for the home like World Cup for I don't know, like a million years now. Like it was all building up to this moment. It's his prime years.
Yeah,
like it's the next World Cup he's gonna be 31. Like I always think about that.
I know that's crazy when you think about it. The other part that upsets me about it is people are thinking like they're blaming him in this tournament because of sitting out of the Gold Cup. A whole season of football happened between sitting out of the Gold Cup and playing the World Cup. And in that season, he had like 3 or 4 injuries. So it's like, that was the right choice. He wasn't fit. He got fucked up. And then he went into this not fit and got fucked up twice. So it's like, maybe he did need to sit out. And I know, but he doesn't help himself with the way he talks in the media, this nonchalant attitude. Like it's not the media training. He's been trained to behave this way. And it's counterintuitive. It doesn't.
The post-match conference where it looked like he didn't care, and it's like, dude. But this is the problem with the Gold Cup thing, right? Like I agree with you. In a certain, like his body probably. Well, the argument is that he was trying to rest himself for the season, which obviously did not work. But
he started hot though.
I know, but this is this is the thing with the Gold Cup. It's like if you are going to basically tell the world that only the World Cup matters, right?
Yeah,
and then you show up and you don't perform. What message could people get other than that, right? Because this is the thing. The US men's national team has basically completely devalued the Gold Cup. They've basically said this thing doesn't matter, right? Everybody else is still competing for it, but it's like if you get to the World Cup and you don't perform, then why are we completely devaluing the only other thing we could actually win?
No, I agree with that assessment. But to an extent, I also kind of fall into that category. Like the Gold Cup doesn't matter to me. The World Cup is the only one that does. But also, as an American, we have to understand that we are nowhere near a level to compete for the World Cup. So to say this is the only one that matters, while not being a nation good enough to compete for even the top 8.
Look, the Gold Cup doesn't. The Gold Cup didn't matter when every single final was Mexico, the US, right? That's when it was like you could basically sim your way to the final, right?
Yeah.
But it's not the case anymore. The US haven't won it, or they have. I think they won the one before the one before, whatever.
Yeah.
But the point is, like, it's not a foregone conclusion anymore. The US with their backups don't just go to the final immediately, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like they should. I think it's too much of an. You can't basically go 4 years thinking none of this shit matters, and then end up in a good place. I don't think that works.
Yeah, for all the hype that this team had going into it, and I do think it was nice seeing a bit of like unique American football culture growing and happening. You know, the country road, all that stuff. Like you got some of the college football match day pregame experience. Like it really seemed like we were developing something unique to our own, and not just saying, "Well, this is what England does. Let's copy it to the best of our ability," and it just looks stupid. They've started the cup hot. They won a knockout game, first time in forever. And in the end, where did they finish? The exact same spot they finished all the others. Because we added this make-believe round of 32, and that's the knockout game we won. So it's as if we got grouped anyways with one extra step. That's all it is.
Got a few Italians will tell you about Bosnia and how difficult they can be to beat. So I wouldn't stress
Bosnia
too much
was
about that.
If you can't beat Bosnia,
Yeah,
I don't know what to tell you,
know,
man. That's on
and
you.
they are. I also got the vibe, and look, I don't follow, especially all the build-up games to the tournament and things like that. But I covered the comments that were made by both sides. Just got the vibe that Pulisic and Pochettino have never hit it off.
I think because of
they
that
started
Gold Cup
rocky,
thing.
but
Possibly, yeah.
Pochettino wanted all of those guys at the Gold Cup because he thought this is my opportunity to mold these guys into a team.
It's your best warm up and your best chance to kind of assimilate.
In
hindsight, he was right. You know, at the time, I was
right.
very vocally defending Pulisic for skipping that, and I still don't think it's that big of a deal. But it was to give those other guys who you were on the fence about an opportunity. You knew you were calling Pulisic up. Now, seeing how Pochettino shaped him in the time he did have, I think, okay, maybe that would have been good. But you look at Pochettino's record going into the World Cup, he has not been a good USA manager in terms of win-loss draw. This elevated him because there were more eyes and there were actually good performances. But ultimately, if he were to be fired today, which I don't think he should, even though there's talks of it, his record's not very good with the U.S. Now, if you look at all those losses, the caveat is, I think 9 out of 12 of them are European teams in the top 10 rank in the world. So it's like, okay, we're ranked 17, which might even be generous. You know,
there's quite a lot of similarities between the Poch discussion and the Tuchel one, where it's like, you know, there's a lot of moments that were given during that tournament that allowed us to all get behind this guy, but then we fell at the same place we always do because of the same reasons that we always do.
The difference is
same level
yours is third place. That's a lot better.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let's quickly keep wrapping this up.
Yeah.
Jashari only 70 minutes. Murat Yakin, you know, didn't fancy him in the midfield with Xhaka being so important there. And you know what, Switzerland, I was always impressed when I watched Switzerland. So it is a harder team to break into than you think. There was talk of him playing games at fullback, but he didn't. He got that one start and he struggled in it, did Jashari. I don't think he played much beyond half time. And in fact, I think he came off at half time in that. So so a forgettable one for him. Santi Jimenez, 82 minutes, and then he rolled his ankle right in front of me at the Azteca. Poor guy. He's
do you remember
with that one ankle?
Pre-tournament, they asked him who's going to be the top scorer of the World Cup, and he said, "Why not me?"
I mean,
brother,
a little bit, but
why would it be?
When you say something like that, at least score one. You know, at least score in the first game.
Score one in the previous season.
Every time he came, listen, Raul Jimenez is going to be in the championship, and every time Santi came on, I was just like, man, our striker is so much worse than a championship striker. So much worse than a championship striker.
Santi Jimenez will play a Milan derby next season in front of near 80,000 people. Raul Jimenez will have to go to Lincoln City. You know, and one of them is quite clearly. Exactly. Estupiñán, 89 minutes, was partly a starter and partly not, so not a brilliant competition for him. But thankfully, he seems to be on his way to Aston Villa, so doesn't really matter in the scheme of things in the shop window. Here's when our internationals are going to return. Estupiñán, hopefully not 24th of July, but as of now, he will return to Milanello at the end of this week. Jimenez and Pulisic, 29th of July is when they will be back at Milanello to begin, obviously, their recovery work, their rehab work on their respective ankle and leg injuries. Ramos and Leao, they will join the team when they're out in Perth for that friendly against Inter on the 29th of July. Of course, that's if Leao is here and if Amorim wants to include him.
Is the game on the 29th?
No, it's is it the 31st? I think they're going to join up just before it.
Oh, it says August 5th. At least on my app, I don't know.
Oh, okay, maybe it is then. Yeah. So they're out there for a little bit then. Then you've got De Winter, Jashari, Salamakers, same thing, joining the team out in Perth. Yeah, that would make sense. Maignan and Rabiot will be the last ones, and it'll be after they've done the tour of Perth, Indonesia. Then we've got a game against Man United in Wrocław, but they'll just be at Milanello. Okay, let's move on. We've got a new away kit. AJ, live react. What do you think?
Looks nice. It's good.
Nice.
So they're obviously doing a tribute of the UCL win. How pathetic.
20 years since.
Yeah.
And we're not even
20
in it.
years since our last one. We're not in the tournament, but hey, let's market people Inzaghi a little bit. Okay, cool. It's a beautiful kit, but come on, guys. What are we doing? Read the
Champions
room.
League kit for Europa League season.
Read the fucking room. You know what I mean? Like,
No, but
The
it
thing
is
like,
it is a lovely kit.
it's beautiful. I'll buy it. It just
Of course, you
shit
will.
like that drives
There's
me
not.
crazy.
Is there a kit that doesn't fit that description?
Yeah. I don't know why I'm looking around like I'm going to grab one that I
yeah,
don't
like
know.
you could have just picked one out of thin air.
Yeah, there's
look,
this is a handful I haven't bought.
This is a club from who did a 115th anniversary thing, you know. So in terms of like arbitrary numbers from a certain thing happening, this doesn't surprise me so much. But you know, the slogan that's on the back here, "Dopo Istanbul c'è sempre Atene," which after Istanbul, there's always Athens. There's always Athens, or in this case, after Istanbul, there is us losing in the Europa League round of 16 to Real Sociedad.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, but look, people's there in front of his mural on the marble there. That looks good. That makes me feel things.
Yeah, that mural is very AI because every person is Santi Jimenez in the crowd. Look at it. Every single person.
You might be right. Do you know something I realized in the World Cup as well is how much Pau Kabasi looks like Bartazaki.
Yeah, doesn't he? It's crazy.
Yeah.
I hate everything about this. I love the kid. I think it's beautiful. I just hate
everything apart from the kit, which is the big thing.
Everything about what it stands for. Look, if you just want to make a beautiful kit, go for it. But to put on the back, like, I know it's an expression that the fans say. I get that. But why are we bragging about it? Hey, remember when we suffered the worst defeat in Champions League final history, but then we won it 2 years later? Well, it's been 20 years since that. We haven't done anything in 2 decades. The majority of our fans weren't alive.
Listen,
come on.
Listen. After
exactly,
Istanbul,
that's the problem.
Listen. After Istanbul, there's Athens, and after Athens, there's Karabag, and Besiktas.
Or maybe they mean after Istanbul, there is AEK Athens in the group stage
exactly.
Yeah, that's who we should be playing.
There's Hammarby. You know what I'm saying? Like after Athens, there's all over. We're going everywhere, baby. We're doing all the cities.
Anyway, kit's nice.
Actually, that's what it means. On the back of the kit, there's like, here's some of the cities we might play next year.
Is that supposed to look like marble, or is that wrinkles in the shirt?
No, it is. It's a pattern within the shirt, I believe. But you need to see it up close to see how noticeable it is.
Because they're going for like some Greek marble thing, even though there's
number 9, baby. Let's get it.
Yeah, anyway, Pippo Inzaghi looking well. Good to see him in and around again. The shirt's nice, albeit it is...
Where's he a manager
I double-checked this.
He was at Palermo.
He left, didn't he?
But can you imagine, like, your manager's doing a photo shoot for another team?
He's still Palermo manager.
Still Palermo manager? Wow. Get him back one day when Amorim...
The whole thing's just a fucking whatever. We win a few games and I won't care about anything. But for now...
We've got our first... let me just remove that. We got our first pre-season test of the summer coming up to against Celtic at Celtic Park, which is coming on Saturday at 3 p.m. English time, 4 p.m. Italian time. That'll be 10 a.m. for you two boys. We have got a graphic knocked up for it already, so I might as well display it. Look, we're not going to get too much from this, are we? It's not going to be anything close to our first team because of, as I mentioned, all of those different names that are going to be joining at different points. So it's going to be a bit of a cobbled together team for this. It kind of feels like last summer when we played Leeds in Dublin. And it's like we're facing a team that Celtic have already played friendlies. I know that. We're facing a team that's a little bit ahead in their preparation. So what I'm saying is if we were to lose this game, don't flip shit, everybody. Just to give you an indication of sort of where we're at, the first team played the Futuro in an intra-squad friendly over the weekend. And the first team 11, because of the absentees, was Pittarella in goal, Odogu, Hila, Pavlovic as the three-man defence, Chukwueze and Borsani as wing-backs, Fofana and Komoto in the middle, Loftus-Cheek and Guernier, who we signed from Birmingham, as the attacking midfielders behind Kamada up front. So when we play that team on Saturday against Celtic and lose the game, don't cry about it, right? I think we're going to lose a lot of pre-season games because A, of all the late returns, we got the most call-ups of any Serie A team to the World Cup, 11 in total. Mm-hmm. And B, Amorim's style is obviously going to have growing pains, especially when you're still having to play RLC behind the striker. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Results
this will
really are
be
secondary.
Celtics' fourth friendly of the month, so they're pretty
gonna
warmed
win.
Jesus
up.
Christ.
Now they haven't done anything in those. They drew 1-1 to Shelbourne. They lost 4-1 to Sporting, and then they drew 1-1 to Middlesbrough. So
We're gonna beat them. Come on.
we could,
We're
but
gonna
like
beat
Ollie
them.
said, I don't know who's going to be there.
We'll
We
have
have
to play them
Samuel
in the
Chukwueze. We have
Europa League.
Kamada. Come on.
Look, there's a chance I don't even watch this
Come
game.
on
To be honest,
do you know
with
what? Right, let's swing it around to a positive. We'll see Keeler for the first time in a sort of game situation. We'll see Komoto, and I think he looked good in that game against Leeds last summer. So fingers crossed that he looks good. Bossani has been bright in preseason. Osola too is meant to have impressed. Kamada starting up front. I think we'd all have a look at that, to see how he gets on. Chukwueze as a wing back could be funny at the very least. So, there's bits there where we're like, right, let's see how these individuals do in this situation. But in terms of the team, in terms of the results, in terms of the style, I don't expect for it to look refined.
Can I say, back in the Benta era, I remember like a line of demarcation from when we stopped being bad was for a lot of the Benta era, like when they would make graphics about Milan versus somebody, they would put a player, it would be Donnarumma, and it's like, if your goalkeeper is your graphic like making player, that kind of says a lot.
Every time.
And now we're making graphics, the fucking manager screaming on the ball.
That's mostly because we've no idea who's going to play, to be honest. But there you go.
Funny.
Yeah.
Can I also make one nitpick about the graphic that we'll report back to Doomy on? The little friendly handshake is not centered between the two club logos, and that's pissing me off.
No, it is. It's because Celtic's logo is a round and Milan's is an oval, so there's less space. So it's centered with the text, but if we're playing Atalanta, it's centered.
Yes, because the PNGs are squares, so the squares fit. But I would have just moved it over a little bit. But that's just me.
At least the badge is correct, though, right?
It is. It is. It's the first correct one I've seen all week, so anyway, I don't care about them. So,
but in that intra-squad friendly, it's worth noting that the first team,
it is their old badge.
Yeah, but the new badge looks it's quite hard to display on certain things because it's got a solid green outline or whatever.
Right, it's basically the exact same, just inverse.
Solid outside. Yeah. In the 7-0 win for the first team, Chukwueze scored, Pavlovic scored, Kamada scored, Loftus-Cheek scored, Fofana scored, Kostic and Osola got the other goals. So we've done our roundup of the meaningless intra-squad friendly there.
I love those because I love that there's probably like no upside because if you win, it's like you just beat up on a bunch of kids and like the first team squad that you just listed has already taken some of the best players from the youth team anyway.
Yeah.
Right. And
well,
then
3 of them scored.
Right, and then if you lose, and it's like, well, what the fuck do we do now? Like,
right?
Didn't that once happen? Oh no, someone.
It happens a lot every year. There's like one like it'll be like Real Sociedad like lost 4-0 to their youth team, and then and I just imagine like, what does the manager do at that point? He's just like, well, all those
he sells them.
Like,
sells those
are the young players my players now? Like what?
That's what we did with Liberali. We just said, get rid of this one.
I think there was a time, and I can't remember who was the manager. It might have been a banter era thing where we played the Primavera in one of the first kind of practice game things, and it was 3 20-minute periods.
Yeah.
And I think the first team only won 2-1, but the manager at the time, it might have been Montella, was so furious with what he'd seen in that game that he cancelled a day off and brought them all in for a double session, which I just love because it's like these kids are fighting for those spots. Of course, they're going to want it more, right? But anyway, you can't win, as you said. You can't win with a game like that. In terms of the transfer rumours, there's basically nothing to mention apart from the fact that it seems like we're trying to accelerate for Caretsas, but we need a sale and there isn't much of a market. Villa have kind of tentatively expressed interest in Leao to replace Morgan Rogers, and they've got money from Tielemans too. They've brought in over 150 million for those two, which is pretty solid business. Leao to Villa kind of seems like it. It might be a fit in terms of sort of the level of club, but an Emery team, I'm not so sure. I'm not.
Emery's a great fit because he doesn't press. Emery's literally Emery's.
They work hard though to Villa. Maybe don't press from the front.
Yeah, they work exactly that. They work hard, but they don't press from the front. They don't like. Yeah. I don't know. I think of the top teams in the Premier League, he is the manager who just likes good players, likes talented players, and just I'll put them on the field. Whatever. We'll see what happens.
I hope that materialises because if he were to get a move to the Premier League, Villa is the kind of team where I would really just, I'd be happy if he flourishes, and it turns out it works so well for everybody, you know.
I think again, it's gonna be the dominoes. The dominoes are what he's gonna keep waiting for this. I think eventually he'll probably just go to Galatasaray. But but if
that's the
there's
rumor today.
But if there's anything that does end up materializing in terms of a Premier League move, I think it's going to be the dominoes of Rashford and Garnacho, because again, two other left wingers on big money that are probably going to command some sort of like big-ish fee, and nobody knows where the fuck they're going, and both their teams don't want them basically. So I think all three will end up getting moves, but like we just have to wait for what the first domino is basically.
Yeah. Well, we also had to wait for the World Cup to end. You know, it's not like many moves were happening during the Cup.
That's true.
So.
That's true. Apart from unless you're Fiorentina.
Yeah, that's right.
And
Spurs.
Man, dude, those signings, Arthur for 25 million euros. There's definitely some shady shit going on there. There's no way.
I genuinely think people are just sleeping.
Paratici, man, like when people were so dead against signing him as our director, like first and foremost, he's ambitious and he's well connected. I'm not surprised that he's getting some of these deals.
And Ulai, the Ivorian, oh my god, he's incredible at AFCON, and he was outrageous at the World Cup. He was incredible.
I mean, I know there's all the personal stuff around Alex Jimenez, which I'll kind of gloss over for now, but to get him on a loan with option is ridiculous.
I know, but that.
You can't ignore the stuff.
No, you can't. It's okay. I don't know if we're allowed to talk on it because of the fucking whatever YouTube rules or whatever, but like I thought that was a line that football would never cross.
Oh, really? That's funny.
No, I just
crossed many times before.
No, not this. No, specifically this. Like they've crossed a lot of other lines, and I thought that this surely people. I hope he fucking gets abuse everywhere he goes. I hope he's fucking bullied out of the game. Honestly,
it ain't gonna happen.
Look at Mason Greenwood. You know that is in evidence, and yet he's got himself a big move to Turkey. No surprise, you know, because they're more willing than most to put up with it. Turkish clubs in terms of signing players with bad PR. It's happened before; it'll happen again. Yeah. But anyway,
it's interesting that Turkey's like the nation that can sign all these big players right now, and like guys like Leao.
They gave them tax breaks.
Right. So, no, I know. I get that. But it's just because like Leao is obviously holding out. He doesn't want to go to Turkey. Everyone makes it very publicly known. I'm not going to Galatasaray. I don't want to go to Turkey. I want to go to a big club. And then no club comes around. And then Galatasaray's like, we'll still take it. Like,
do you know what?
I mean, at what point did they say, hey, you didn't want us? Why would I go?
Look, they understand where they are in the food chain. And to be fair to them, it's gotten them fucking Victor Osimhen. So, like, why would you not continue doing it? You know?
Yeah,
of
course.
I just say that the Trossard moved for 16 mil plus bonuses?
Which
and
is
look, I know Trossard
deal.
Isn't like a flashy player, but I'd have had him for that money.
Absolutely.
I'd have had him in the team behind the strikers.
But you got to think the wages must be insane.
Yeah, and they can pay out big wages. Yeah. I mean, Galatasaray have apparently offered Leao 10 mil plus a year. Yeah, so maybe that's why he's now. I'll keep that there because that's good.
That's the thing with them is like okay, yeah, they are willing to kind of like demean themselves, but if it ends up with them fucking having Leao and Victor Osimhen up top, like you can't really argue with it. It's fucking crazy.
And you know what? They'll actually go far in the Champions League.
That's what I'm saying. They beat Juve. Like,
yeah.
I guess we didn't.
I'm saying like in terms of like I literally was looking at it. I'm like, man, if you look at the 5 best, if Leao and what's his name? Salah was the other one rumored. They've quashed that recently. Salah was like rumored to go to Besiktas, and then that ended up not happening.
Where is he going?
Not so far. We have no idea. But like all these journalists came out saying like he's signing for Besiktas like today. And then his agent was like, "No, he's not." And then he didn't come.
I saw his agent said, "Where's he going?" I have no idea.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. So I don't know why you guys know.
Yeah.
But basically, I was like, if they sign Salah and Leao, you start looking around at like the top 5 best players in Turkish league versus the ones in Serie A. Like, fuck me, man.
Højbjerg's the other player who's been linked for as like a final piece for the midfield. I really don't have any strong thoughts on that. It's kind of vanilla.
You just don't need another midfielder. You really don't.
At the moment, no, we don't. We need exits on that front first. Inacio rumours, blah, blah, blah. But it's kind of gone a little bit quiet. I think we're in that phase where we're going to try and offload some players to bring in some money, but we need to be ready to pounce if Dortmund go for a Karetsas or whatever. Speaking of which, just a couple of questions and then we'll wrap it up. Darren Torres, Karetsas, Alay Begovic, or another name for the positions behind the striker. We kind of did this on the squad building thing last week, and after about an hour sat looking through various different things, metrics to actually looking at videos, I came to the conclusion that I don't know who the perfect name is to play behind the striker. Bdair,
what were your suggestions? I'm interested.
Well, Ben
you.
picked Foden. He went with the
Christ.
the hot link at the time, and I said there's like a 1% chance.
The figment of his imagination. Yes.
Yeah.
Wait till you hear Ollie's pick.
Oh yeah, my pick was Ardagula.
Jesus Christ, dude! In what world are you out of your mind?
Well, just because I think Real Madrid are always that team where you can do things with them that you don't think are possible. Like Pass was gone. Como were not keeping Nico Pass, and they found a way to the 60 million.
But to be fair,
I just wondered if with him can you do something where it's like a buyback, because he ain't going to be a starter, and I don't think he's a Mourinho player either.
In fairness, they basically picked him over Paz. That's kind of what happened. So it's like,
but they got Mastantuono as well, who they invested a lot in.
He has not been.
There's a better chance we get him than
Miller. He was. Fuck it, get him. He was like 40.
So basically, I narrowed it down to he had to be a left footer, because Amorim has been hammering on about that, and we've already got 2 players to play on the left side, so we need a left footer for the right side. Look, I kind of like what I've seen of Karetsas, but the same reservations apply as what they did with like a CDK or a Jashari, where it's like he's 18, he's done well in the Belgian league. You better be ready to kind of write off the first year or two as acclimatization and adaptation, especially in an Amorim system, and how he has such set ways of the positions being interpreted. I like it. Alay Begovic is the same. Canuzon would be like, of the players that we've linked, he's the most ready to go, but his attitude is apparently shocking.
But he wasn't a starter at Frankfurt either. He scored a lot of goals, but he mostly came
because he doesn't work. He hasn't shown up for pre-season, so you don't want to sign a player like that, because we've been here before with that.
I think in terms of options, I mean, you probably want to go young. There's nobody. It feels like there's nobody within the league that kind of jumps out at you.
I was really ready to argue for Loriente, but he's very much a left-sided player, so you've got a logjam there if you do that. Unless you say
could still play Pulisic on the right.
Yeah, he's good with both, so you can potentially still play him on the right, and he's been doing it for long enough where it should be fine him cutting in off the right. But Loriente, in terms of his numbers, was coming out really high, and he scored 9 last season. We need scorers in that position.
I mean, Loriente
we lose goals with Leao.
Yeah, Loriente is the most Leao-like replacement. If we wanted to go, I've mentioned him before, but the player that I saw last season, who I was like, that's just Leao. Like, that's Leao, but a bit younger, was Jonathan Rowe.
Yeah.
Jonathan Rowe, again, he only scored 5 goals, or he only has 5 goals and assists, whatever. So he's not prolific yet. But there were games. He had the games against Villa and games against Roma in the Europa League, where I was just literally watching. I'm like, this might be the best player in the world. Like, he's talent-wise, he's incredible. But funnily enough, Villa are linked with him for 40 million.
Well, he's also just been sent off in a pre-season game for punching an opponent. So that's the second time that he's going to be kicked out of a club for punching someone. So no to Jonathan Rowe.
And you want to reunite?
Yeah, let's bring them back together.
Hey man,
and have Amorim in there doing his rondo.
Everybody was buddy last season, and we didn't do shit. Okay.
Well, Amorim said he'll back him if he's right with the players. If he's arguing with the players in the right.
Look, I don't know. There just doesn't seem to be like. There's not a lot of options. The market is as narrow as it's ever been because you're priced out of so much business, and they don't seem to want to go just bring me Mohamed Salah. Honest to God,
I agree that we need to get a little bit younger, because you look at, even if we keep Chukwueze around, all of the players that we'd have there are sort of I think they'd be 28 and above.
Yeah, they'd all be prime age.
So someone young to kind of develop in their shadow would be good. But I think if you look at the flip side, someone a little bit older who guarantees output is not the worst thing. The worst thing you can do is kind of get caught in between with somebody who doesn't really do much of anything. My gut feeling with the attacking midfielder position is that Keretsas is going to Dortmund because that just makes too much sense and they seem to be far ahead with it. Ali Begovic will go somewhere else because we'll move away from the idea of signing the Keretsas mold that we believe slightly less in, and that it'll be someone that hasn't really been linked yet. You know, if it didn't have to be a left footer, if you warmed to the idea of a right footer, Dan and Doy, I'd like. He didn't do so well at Forest, and I don't think that they're hell bent on hanging on to him. But he looked so good at the World Cup that it's like, size, direct. I like. Ilman and Jai would be nice too, but I think he would command a fee.
Too expensive.
Yeah, probably so.
No, sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to move on to the final question.
Yeah, go ahead. No, that's fine.
Right, so... All right, we'll do two more. This first one should be quick. Time insensitive. Early minimum expectations for the Europa League.
I don't know. I mean, quarterfinals.
We've got to see the draw,
right? Like, we got to see the draw. We got to see who our team is. We don't know.
Fuck
really.
that. Win it.
Yeah, we got to
sign a 75 million striker. Win the fucking thing.
Yeah. Gonzalo Ramos could in the Europa League, to be honest.
That was what I was going to say. I kind of forgot before I said it, but everything about that position ultimately just depends on selling Leao. If they don't sell Leao, then I don't think financially we could just go sign somebody else.
But I think that the things are moving on that front to the extent that, like, if Keretsas really... No, I mean, if Keretsas really is the guy and we feel him slipping out of our grasp and the deal is there for 35, 40, and Moretto said he wants to join us over Dortmund, if we really, really believe he's the guy, I think we'll pay up and back ourselves to find a solution for Leao.
If Dortmund are in for him, he's the guy. They don't miss.
He's very talented.
It's such a good move for him. The Bundesliga is perfect to kind of...
And that's the other thing I was going to say. Anyone who has the option to go from like where he's at right now, which is a club I don't know. I don't even know where he's at. But making that jump from one of those clubs. Oh, he's okay. Whatever. Making a jump from there to Dortmund or a top team, you pick Dortmund every single time. And if you
Champions League too,
maybe you're not actually all there. So maybe he isn't the guy if he picks us.
He's 18.
We still have a charm.
That's the thing. They're all child. But that's the thing.
No,
we have a charm.
We don't have charm. He's 18 years old. We're celebrating the 20th anniversary of our last win. What charm?
No.
He doesn't even know who Inzaghi is. He said, who's this old man in the jersey?
We're a brand name. That's the thing.
Yeah, okay, so is Off-White. Well, that's
after Genoa there is a Cagliari. Final question, again from Darren Torres. How do you feel about the idea of Richie being sold?
Great. I feel wonderful. There's
been some links about it. But
don't let the door hit you, buddy.
It's Juve, it's Atalanta that seems to be keen. I'm always wary when Atalanta want to pick up one of our players.
Yeah, I'd rather go to Juve.
Yeah, Yunus Musa. No,
oh yeah, no, true.
Listen,
the only thing with Richie, like obviously it depends on Amarim's assessment, and if he says he's not a double pivot player for me, then fair enough, you start looking for other solutions. But first of all, by what formula are you wanting to strengthen a rival? If it's another loan with option, then I don't really see the point.
It has to be money.
It has to be money, and secondly, we didn't pay tons for him, so there's a possibility you can make your money back on him. Might there be something with Edison and Atalanta? Don't know, because I think he's going to renew there, but whatever, that's a footnote. Second thing is the squad list, the Italians, you're losing one there, so we probably would then have to go and sign one. So for what position, and for are we going to then go out and sign an Italian for the sake of it? Potentially, it might end up being another.
That's how we got Ricci. So
yeah.
We got Ricci, Bertolacci.
It's really important to have those homegrown Italians for the Champions. Oh, sorry, my bad.
But still, those lists still apply for the Europa League.
I know, but who gives a fuck, man? Just put the kids in the list or something. I don't know.
I'm still not. But that's not how that's not how it works because unless you fill the slots, you lose a spot for one of the.
I've played. I know. I've played Football Manager. I'm just messing up.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't need to teach you anything then. We'll wrap it up there. Been a good one. I said to the lads before, we'll only do an hour, but we've ended up an hour and a half as per usual. It is what it is. I hope you enjoyed it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the World Cup. Hope you're ready for the start of pre-season and for an inevitable 4 defeats out of 4 or whatever it is. But we're back early next week with another main pod where we'll recap that first game. Back later in the week with another bonus pod episode. You can find me on Twitter at Ollie Fisher. AJ, cheers for joining.
Goodbye.
Bdair, cheers for joining. Nice yawn to sign off there. Have a fantastic week, everyone.